Actually, I can walk that side of the tracks in a half hour.
Yes, we have a guest with us today, Jerry Smith.
Yes.
And he has a couple of pieces of equipment down by the pump house. One of them is what he calls a pizza cutter. It's actually an asphalt cutter.
Yeah.
And, but go ahead and.
What I was coming up to the council for is, you know, the city's got its own equipment. And there's a lot of equipment. They got the backhoe and the dump truck and the roller. And of course, they don't have a paver, but I got the paver and I got another roller, a skidster. Shirley needed some pricing if we worked as a team at the Sticker Construction Company in the town of Bromberg, if we work. So just to give you some rough numbers here, on Montana Street over here that ties into the school street, there's the whole intersection's gone. The skin patching throughout town is no longer feasible. The asphalt is so bad, you gotta cut it out. Asphalt's like cancer. Once it starts, it keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. If you put a skin over it, it just eventually happens again. The best way to do it is cut it out, remove the old asphalt, and then paver the new asphalt in. This wheel that Shirley's talking about is a coulter wheel. It's just like a big pizza cutter that hangs on the backhoe, and you just cut out whatever patch you need. You wanna cut out, you know, like a foot past the old asphalt, tie into the good asphalt, and then you put it in there and roll it. But let's just take that little intersection I'm talking about. There's 25 tons of material that goes in there. Now Fisher Industry, they charge me $50 a ton. They charge the town of Bromberg $50 a ton. But I'm gonna go down there and approach them to see the cheapest asphalt we can get from them. But on that certain intersection, we're talking 25 ton. And, you know, for trucking purposes, it's $13.50 a ton to truck it up here. Okay, and then we take the old asphalt, load it in Fisher truck, and they take it back. And they get rid of it. They got a disposable thing there. So the trucking price is, you know, $13.50 a ton, asphalt's $50 a ton, and my laydown price for that intersection would be $500. So you're looking at $2,087.50 to do that whole complete intersection. And then the next thing is right in front of the school. That street is really in really bad shape. There's two ways of looking at that street. You can go in there and cut out all the patches, fix it, get it leveled, and do some sort of a sealant on top of it, chip seal or something like that to make it survive. Or if you went in there and tore the whole street out of there and paved it, you're looking at $16,900 to do the whole street.
Mike did talk to somebody at the school. I don't know if it was Julia or if it was the Mrs. Harris or who you talked to at the school.
Mrs. Harris.
Was it
Still
Harris?
got to go through the school board.
Yeah. They intimated that they may be willing to put some funding into that street, and one councilman that's not here tonight said that, well, they should put funding in that because they're the ones that tore it up to begin with.
Yeah.
And never repaired it, so.
That was to help pay to pave not only the street but their parking area.
Right.
So,
The
and I don't
school
know
is
what
looking at paving the parking area. They have pavers coming, because they have to pave the back approach to the new bus barn, and that back in there. So, there's people coming.
This
up
was just
there.
something they said they would be very interested in, the school board wanting to know.
But they've already set their budget for the year, and so, you know, it's not something that we can look at within the school budget that they've already set the preliminary budget for already, the school board has, so we'd have to wait on the street up there till next fall. Right now, we're just looking at getting the priority streets done, and the holes, have to get a hold of the railroad because they're gonna have to come down and block their railroad off so the trains won't go by and kill somebody while they're filling the holes. Just a lot of
the streets that I went through, Bromberg, you know, I did some skin patching 18 years ago. And a lot of the streets now are just so in disarray that the skin patching is just not feasible. So it's time to cut out and salvage everything you can. And I'm saying that, working with the town of Fromberg and myself, if we can make a schedule and we can do a little this year, a little next year, a little next year, a little next year, and try to get Fromberg caught back up where the streets ain't such, disarray. Asphalt has a life expectancy of 20 years. That's asphalt. And, that's the state of Montana uses that 20 years, and that's why they do the chip seals and so forth like that. But once you get a street fixed up and it's good, and then, chip seal it, or, make it, they got the new double chip penetration stuff that's just amazing material.
Yeah, clear seal, that's
Yeah.
wonderful, yeah. Audrey?
No disrespect to Mr. Sticka, but just pure observation, we're talking about policies and procedures being
No, I
followed.
was just about to say that I will
You gotta
sustain
take
from
bids
anything
from other
that-
people.
Well, and that was where I was
Yeah.
headed with this, is that before we get too far into this, and with all due respect for Mr. Sticka, if we're
It
gonna
has to
look
be
at contracting
advertised.
out to somebody else, we need to advertise and
Yeah.
follow proper protocol before we even go
And
down
that
this
will
road.
be done, that will be
I just
done,
think
yeah.
that we're
Well, it
premature.
sounds like he's already gone through and he's placing a bid
He-
before even advertising
No,
it to others.
no.
No, he's
this
not,
is-
he's
this
just
is-
giving us some information.
Just some information.
It will go through the council and it will be put up for bids, if we decide to go that way.
And I guess it's kind of one-sided to see what one person's opinion is versus maybe two or three other person's opinion on that.
Mhm.
Well, I'll give you a second opinion, the streets are shit.
Well, and I think,
Pardon my language,
I think
but
any
they
of us that
are.
living here are, but what I'm saying is that maybe it has to
They
be.
need to be, majority of the streets technically don't need to be patched anymore, they need to be completely torn
And
up.
I totally agree with you.
And
I've said
replaced.
that 100
They need
times.
to be
Replace.
replaced.
Mhm.
Put
Yeah,
in
you said that
volunteer
too.
work in the late fifties,
But we're
early
working with
60s.
a short budget, just trying to get what we can done, this time, and Jerry's just
Little
here
at a
giving
time.
us some
Sounds good.
information on what
And
he
so
thinks.
everybody else knows that there wasn't some backhanded table deal. I seen him in town today and he's like, hey, I'm just running through it, chatting with your mayor, I got some ideas I wanted to run by you guys. And so I seen him when I was up at the park, so
Yeah.
there's nothing slimy about the deal.
But he also knows that, just giving us what he's got there is information, but he also knows that it has to go through the council, it has to be advertised, so,
And that's the thing too, but, I'm breaking it down, just like on the asphalt type of things, that's 59.88%. If you're gonna look at the volume of it, is for asphalt. The trucking is 16.17% of a dollar, and my laydown is 23, or, that's with a couple pieces of equipment, it depends on the size of crew I gotta have. If we're gonna go pave a big street, you take a paver, it takes 5 people to run a paver, you got 2 laborers, 2 screen operators, and the guy running the machine. But laydown pricing is like 23.95% of the dollar. So to me, with the city's equipment working like that, to me, I think that would be a good thing the guy can look at and offer it to other companies. I don't care. I'm not afraid of that.
yeah, and as we said, it would probably had to be put out for bids, and then the council will open those sealed bids, and then they'll approve anything, if we decide to go that way.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, it's that big qualifier right there, yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to look at, we've got some money in the budget to do that, and, we've talked about it, trying to get some, plan in place where we can we won't be able to do them all at one time, but at least, here, a little bit here and there, and get some of the major potholes filled, and, get First Street done. That's the first thing I wanna get done, is to have them dig that up and start over. And, we've got some, other things that are coming up, but, we'll just go from there.
Well, I think this idea, like what I'm bringing up, I think that's the way that Prover can get the bigger bang for the dollar.
Okay.
And, it's just something that I'd like to see. It don't have to be me or whatever, but that's a good way of working the system to get it done as cheaply as possible.
So you'd have the city employees working with the city.
If the city employees working with their equipment, tear out the intersection or whatever, and just go in there and pave it in, but.
I would think that that's a very sketchy way to work, because if you don't know who you're working with and you don't know what kind of quality they're doing, it could be a nightmare. I mean, from a contractor's point of view, I would think it'd be extremely sketchy
Well,
arrangement.
on a contract's point of view, the contractor, if I brought in all the support equipment and all the people that we're talking about, and there's just no way a person could get cheap, you know, asphalt's expensive work. But, so this is a way, working together with the city, and, you know, and I'd like to see, you know, a program of some sort. Because, I mean, I live in Carbon County, and I drive these streets, and I see, you know, talk to people about the streets. It's just an idea.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, next meeting date will be,
You had mentioned that the council was going to vote on the new employee tonight.
Point of order, you can't, it's not on the
Not on
agenda.
the agenda.
So he'll be hired without the council?
we can have a special meeting and do that. When is the next meeting, Bill? I can't see the calendar.
June 4th, July 2nd.
July 2nd?
Yep.
7 o'clock. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I have a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. I don't want anybody to know.
I'll probably be over to Red Lodge maybe Thursday. I'll have coffee with you. Yeah, I'll give you a call before I.
Get them crops in?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys good, right?
For the most part, see Spencer down the road.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He brought up the stuff that we like.
One of those years.
Oh, I hadn't told the lobby.
Election for what?
So, primary.
Oh,
So he just.
Oh,
keeps on
we
going,
just
and
said that.
he finally says,
well, if I need to talk.
just go ahead and say it. And I said,
Before you
say
go.
what? And he says, I told you so.
Okay.
Get him out front? Get him out front?
Yeah. Let me get this stuff. Oh, I
I'm
can
just,
get it.
just really warm.
I know.
Even when I was sitting under the, person wasn't getting any breeze.
I know it's, we need to get some air in here.
I'm gonna write down just on the back of this for scratch paper where I mowed, if you could have, when the town guy does show up, I tried to get it in a windrow to where you can use that picker upper.
This reader,
and
yeah.
Yep, and then we stockpile, cause if we'd have left